Welcome to the video. In this video, we're going to take a look at the Cubs' upcoming road series in Los Angeles against the Dodgers. Before we get too much into it, all of these stats and records are going to be prior to Wednesday's game, so not including Wednesday's games for both the Cubs and the Dodgers. Let's start with the Dodgers. They've been struggling a little bit as of recently. Lost the first two to the Nationals, and they've lost three in a row. Looking to not get swept out on the East Coast there in Washington. But they've been really good at home, and they'll be back home for this series against the Cubs. They are 6-0 at home this year. And they've been pretty solid here. As we look at the top 10 teams in XWOBA, we'll see the Dodgers are 8th, so pretty solid. Although we also see the Cubs first. They've been crushing it at the plate, putting up runs, getting on base, and showing the power as well. As we take a look more at the Cubs specifically, won 7 of 8 going into Wednesday. They also lead the MLB in stolen bases at 25, and the Dodgers quite a ways behind at 7. Now, of course, the Cubs are 0-2 against the Dodgers this year, but both those games being in Japan and quite a while ago. It doesn't even really seem like this season. As we get specifics into the Dodgers now, Freddie Freeman hasn't played recently. He's on the 10-day IL, but could be expected to come off of it for this series. He's had an ankle issue, and he messed it up again getting into the shower, so that's how he got put back on the IL, but he's hopeful to return for this series against the Cubs. As we look at Dodgers hitters over the last 7 days, Ohtani is killing it. He was not a surprise to see him at the top there. What is a little bit of a surprise, Mookie Betts and Teoscar Hernandez towards that bottom. And Tommy Edman, also a bit of a surprise. He leads the Dodgers with 5 homers, but he's only hitting .235, so he has a lot of singles and homers. Kind of a weird combo. No extra base hits for Tommy Edman. As we compare that to the Cubs, they've been having a couple guys raking it, but of course Kyle Tucker leads the way. Teams even starting to pitch around Kyle Tucker now, and I'm expecting him to be very dangerous this series going against 3 righties. Seiya still continuing to hit it well over the last week. Amaya and Shaw, great to see them up there. Dansby's been hitting it well. And then Turner and Bush. We'll see if we see much of Turner against the 3 righties this weekend. But really impressed with the Cubs offense so far, and excited to see him back in a warm weather environment for this series. Let's take a quick look at the stadium overview. Dodger Stadium is pretty, on average, it's pretty average in terms of runs. As we see here, it is higher up in terms of home runs and lower in terms of triples. So smaller ballpark, and it does kind of favor the lineup the Dodgers have put together out there. Not a ton of stolen bases, not a ton of speed, but a lot of power, and not as big of an issue if you strike out a little more. A little below average in terms of runs, but overall, power is more important here, and it's a pretty power-friendly park. Let's get into the matchups. We're going to start with Friday night's matchup, 9:10 Central start. Matthew Boyd versus Roki Sasaki. Sasaki has been a bit wild, but the young righty from Japan did figure it out a little bit in his last start against the Phillies, so we'll see if he keeps that going here. But a key for the Cubs is just to be patient. 25.6% walk rate for Sasaki, and we saw that in Japan. He had 5 walks against the Cubs, so they've just got to be patient. He's got really good stuff, but he has not figured out the control yet. So I think the Cubs can capitalize on that. He did only have 2 walks in his 4 innings last game against the Phillies, so we'll see if he can keep that going, but I think the Cubs need to make him show it first. As for the Cubs in this one, Matthew Boyd has not allowed an earned run yet, but he is fly ball heavy lefty, so we'll see. I think the home run could be an issue, especially in this series in general, but with some fly ball heavy pitchers on the mound in games 1 and probably game 3. He gave up 9 fly balls in his last game against San Diego and 10 against Arizona in his first start of the season. Game 2 will be Saturday night, 8:10, Ben Brown versus Tyler Glasnow. Let's start off with Tyler Glasnow. And similar to Sasaki, he has struggled with the control this year. 24.2% walk rate for Tyler Glasnow. So once again, the key is going to be to make him throw strikes and then capitalize on getting walks. Hopefully get some homers in there as well to bring in all those guys the Cubs have been putting on base. As for Ben Brown, he's allowed a home run in each start this year and 3 earned runs against the A's and then 5 against the Padres in his last. So he's a guy that struggled a little bit with the wildness too. 4 walks in his last one. He's got really good stuff, but he's just got to figure out the control still, and he hasn't done that yet. So this is a really interesting one as we get into the Saturday night game in LA. Sunday night, we've got a 6 o'clock p.m. start, ESPN, Sunday Night Baseball. So big time game here. It was supposed to be Justin Steele's start, and I had this all prepped for Justin Steele, but it looks like it's obviously not going to be him, as he is on the IL now with elbow tendonitis. So it looks like it's probably going to be Colin Rea. So for the purpose of this, we're going to go Colin Rea against Dustin May. Let's start with Dustin May for this one. He has not allowed a home run yet this year through his 2 starts. Heavy ground ball percentage, 83rd percentile in ground ball percentage. So expect the Cubs to have a harder time getting the ball up in the air and home runs in this one. He's only allowed 1 earned run, which is part of why he's got a very low ERA right now, but he has allowed 4 runs in total, so some unearned runs through those first 2 starts. He had just 1 strikeout in his last start against the Nationals and 3 walks. So another guy that we can hopefully work the counts, get into him, and a guy that hopefully will have a short start against the Cubs. And as for the Cubs, looking at Colin Rea, has not made the start yet. Kind of pitched in 2. Well, he pitched in 1. He pitched a third of an inning in Arizona, and then 2 kind of big lead where he's gone multiple innings to close out the game. So one of the key for Colin Rea, the reason he was successful at times last year for the Brewers, is his low walk rate. He doesn't walk pretty much anybody. This year he hasn't walked anybody. 6% walk rate all of last year, 4.29 ERA all of last year, and he does give up some homers. I do fear that a little bit in this Sunday night game, especially with guys like Ohtani. He faced the Dodgers last year as a member of the Brewers and had a 4-homer outing, so hoping we don't see that version. Ohtani did homer in that one, so did Will Smith, so hoping we don't see that version. Here is one of my keys for this series, and it's the one that stood out to me from a lot of the Cubs games in terms of how many walks the Cubs have just worked at the plate, but how it matches up here with the Dodgers pitching. The blue, we've got the Dodgers pitching for this series. Sasaki, Glasnow, we see with almost a quarter of the guys that they face, they walk. Insane. And something that can really play to the Cubs' advantage to be patient this weekend. I do have Justin Steele still on here, as I made this when he was supposed to start Sunday night still. But if we go with the 0% for Colin Rea this year, another huge advantage for the Cubs, or the 6% that he had all of last year. Cubs pitching should be a big advantage. And if we can capitalize with a couple homers with extra guys on base from the walks, that could be huge in terms of the Cubs continuing this run they're on. The keys for this weekend, we have quick start. It could be tough for the Dodgers to become in, especially if they are getting swept at Washington. We'll see how that finishes up. But either way, coming all the way back from the East Coast, they do have a day off in between, but still getting back into a groove after that long trip. So if they can get on them early, get into the bullpen hopefully, and we can do that with Sasaki starting game 1, hoping he's a little wild still. I think that could be a huge key. Tiring them out is really just working walks like the Cubs have done the whole year. Keeping them out on the field, time of possession basically, and then capitalize on some of those. This will be a good weekend for homers with good weather, wind blowing out a little bit. But if we can get those with some guys on base versus the Dodgers maybe just getting some solo shots, I think that'll be huge. And then finish, I didn't really touch on this, but the bullpen has been the huge weakness of the Cubs so far. Presley's he's been solid as a closer, I'd say, in terms of that he hasn't blown them. But as a fan, it's been tough to watch because there's just a lot of balls in play, no strikeouts. Porter Hodge has definitely better stuff, but he's had some issues as well. Brad Keller has been really impressive, so I'd like to see him more. If you made it to the end of the video, I appreciate it. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let me know what you think in the comments. I appreciate any comments as I'm trying to grow this channel. And until next time, go Cubs.